What's up everyone, Gabriel here. A lot of science fiction media, TV shows, movies, and images you can find online show curved, hexagonal, or even octagonal corridors. This is what I'm showing you how to make today. On the screen, you'll see materials that I'm using here if you want to follow along or make something similar. I'm using this chip container in particular because of the indentations that are on the sides of it, but I could easily have used chipboard, bent, or even folded into different shapes and added my own ribbing detail. Step 1. First, I've taken this chip container and split it into 4 pieces. I'll be removing the top and bottom of the container as well. I won't need those. From here, I'm splitting it directly in half, so that way I've got 2 equal length sections that will be the curved portion of the wall. I'm not worrying about matching the length to that of the GW Zone Mortalis terrain, but I'm using a similar width and height as a reference point, and I'll come back to that later. With the measurements that I've made for the width, I've determined how much space I need to support between the curved pieces. This 3/4 of an inch scrap will be hot glued inside to hold the walls together while I assemble the rest of it. Step 2. I'll start making the top and bottom of the walls out of a 1.5 inch wide piece of foam core at the same length as the wall. So for this, it's roughly 3 inches. We'll use the same 1.5 inch wide foam core for the sides shortly. To make the pieces fit better, I'm measuring a 1/4 inch from the sides and making a reference mark so that way I can bevel the edges. This will allow the foam to sit inside of the wall and glue easier to the curved surface. We'll repeat this step for the other side. Step 3. To cap off the ends of the wall, I'm laying the wall on its side so that way I can trace the shape of the wall and get a piece that will fit into the wall for additional support. One thing to note here is that I'm making an extra mark about 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch inside one of those marks to account for the thickness of the plastic that I'm using. That's not all though. On the top and the bottom of one side of this new piece, I'll make a mark the same thickness as the foam core, but leave the paper on the opposite side. This will allow the paper to overlap the exposed foam from the pieces that have already been glued on. After both sides are capped off, I'm adding an extra layer of foam core to the bottom of the wall section. This is so that way it will be the same height as the Zone Mortalis walls. It's not necessary, but for my purposes, I want it to be the same height so I can use the stairs and other accessories that come with the Zone Mortalis terrain until I have a chance to make my own. Step 5. Details. This is where I will be making the wall more interesting. The top of it's a bit plain, so I'm adding a bit of chipboard to it. This one is the cutout from the last pattern I made. It just adds a little bit of detail for painting so the top isn't just flat and boring. The ribs on the wall are going to be the majority of the detail I plan on using, however I do want to add just a little bit more. And for this I'm cutting and gluing zip ties vertically on the edge to create a visual separation for the sections of wall. There are multiple ways that you can do this. If we go back to the sides, instead of cutting off the curved sections, you could just cut a slit in the foam core so that way the curved piece of the wall will fit inside. This could be some kind of reinforcement or the space for a door or an emergency bulkhead. This is just the beginning of my curved wall system. In the comments below, please let me know what you think about this and if you have any suggestions. I am still trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to accomplish the corners, or it'll change directions. And I think that I'm going to have to make specific corners to meet specific scenarios. I really do think that this will work out well for what I'm wanting to use it for. I'm hoping this helps you as well if you're wanting to make science fiction walls or add variety to your existing system. Have fun, be creative, and happy hobbying.